What is going on, YouTuberinos? Lamont at large here today. We're walking down Washington Avenue here in Cairo, Illinois. Population, I don't even think 1,500 people live here. Cairo is one of those weird towns, geographically speaking and economically, which is, I don't know if I want to use the word impoverished, but definitely has seen better days. We're gonna talk a little bit about Cairo, the history of it, and how it ended up this way. And listen, I'll show you the good, show you the bad, talk about both sides of the coin on the issue of what the hell happened to Cairo, Illinois? Yeah, what the hell did happen to this place? I'm gonna guess this used to be a tire shop. You got air, 50 cents, so the sign can't be too old. And the office, of course, this place is abandoned, like a lot of little small businesses on this strip. Across the street right there used to be the Wonder Market. Had to quickly come across the street to see if my sticker from last year is still here, and it is doing safe and sound. That is always good to hear. Now, I'm not exactly sure when Cairo became a city, but let's talk about the name really quickly, because the name is spelled C-A-I-R-O, just like the city in Egypt, Cairo. And technically, phonetically, that's how it's pronounced, is Cairo. But don't you dare pronounce it Cairo to anybody that lives out here, because it is not going to be good for you. It's pronounced Cairo. The only thing I can come up with for that reason is just because the residents of this town didn't want to be compared to a city that they have absolutely nothing to do with at all. I mean, what, Cairo, Egypt is what, 6,000-7,000 miles away? So all the residents here pronounce it Cairo. And if you come in here with Cairo, they're going to give you the side eye. But it was named after Cairo because of how the rivers, the Mississippi and the Ohio rivers, kind of meet at a point. And I guess it reminded somebody of the Nile Delta over in Egypt. Back about 200 years ago, there were people that were living here in Cairo at the time. Now, at that time, I don't know how many people lived here, but it wasn't many, because this area really wasn't conducive for anything. And that's because of how low it is at sea level. It's just like a swampy land that it's not really conducive for really much in terms of having a burgeoning economy having to do with the river, like barges coming through, steamboats coming through. And people didn't want to invest money into this place because oftentimes it was very prone to flooding. So in 1837, one of the main guys of an investment group out of Boston by the name of Darius Holbrook, he came here and he saw something that a lot of people didn't see. I guess this guy saw potential in this place. I have no idea. So he tells his friends, hey, listen, I know this place looks kind of like a dump. I know, but just hear me out here. I think if we can rile together some money and build a levee system to prevent this place from getting flooded and all of us being swept away out into the Ohio River, I see some really promising things. I see a promising economy. I see this being like the jewel of the Midwest, being a major port city, if you will. So him, together with his rich friends, they started selling bonds through a bank based out of London. Now, for the first 2 or 3 years of that time, everything was going fantastic and great. Everything's just stupendous. And then in 1840, that bank went belly up. So now everybody's bonds that they bought are not even worth the paper they're printed on. Now, at least at this time now, the money from the bonds was enough to build a shipyard. It was enough to build most of a levee system. Still needed to add some additional levees, which they did later on. And just, bring people here. You gotta, have a place to eat. Gotta have a motel. Gotta have the girlies. Just a place where rustic men looking to work would come and want to stay. So now that we have the dry dock, the shipyards, the levees, so now we have some semblance of a town. After the whole London bonds fiasco happened, most of the residents of Cairo left. And at that time now, in the 1840s, early 1840s, there's probably about 100 people here, maybe 150. Now, of course, the city would bounce back because in 1846, a group of investors headed by famed writer John Neal purchased 10,000 acres because they wanted to make it the final stop on the Illinois Central Railroad. And that's what happened. So they're putting money back into this economy, and once again, it starts to flourish. And going into the early 1850s, heading into the Civil War, by that time now, you have about 2,000 residents in this place. Why do people think it's okay to yell at me as I'm filming walking down a major street? I've been yelled at several times already. I don't understand it. I think somebody called me a butt boy or something. I don't know. Anyways, so this place, Cairo, a very important town at that time because, well, when trains are running goods from down in Louisiana up to Illinois, they can't cross the rivers because there's no tracks on the rivers. So they would oftentimes have to have the rail cars ferried across the river and to continue their journey up north or down south. Now, once the Civil War happened, then this became a very important town for the Union Army led by Ulysses Grant. Admiral Holfoot, he was the Navy admiral at the time. He made this place an integral part, kind of like the central location of the Navy's Mississippi Squadron. And it was very important in terms of taking land away from the Confederacy, moving down the Mississippi River. So basically, they turned this into some kind of a Navy port for some time. Now, war is bad. Lots and lots of soldiers on both sides died. So after the war ends, a lot of the soldiers that were contributing to the economy, well, they leave. So this town once again kind of becomes a little bit depressed, but there's still people coming back, going forward. But things would start taking a rather dark turn around 1889. So the guys at the Illinois Central Railroad, they had the audacity to build a bridge, right? Because they're like, screw this barge steamboat thing. Let's just build a bridge across the river. And then that way we can just bypass having to stop in that lame town, Cairo. Hey, I didn't say it, they did. Okay. So they built a bridge. And at first it didn't affect it too much because, shipping stuff via a steamboat, riverboat, barge, whatever you want to call it, it's still a very important way to transport goods from one side of the map to the other. However, they built a second bridge. Wow, I guess they had it in for Cairo. In 1905, they built a second bridge not very far outside of Cairo in a different town. I think it's called Thebe, or begins with a T. So that second bridge is over there. And that hurts. That's starting to hurt this town. And then by 1937, a bigger railroad trestle is completed along with the bridge. Now, trains are not stopping in Cairo. Motorists, there's a bridge now, so they could totally bypass this town. They don't have to come to this place anymore. They could just keep on the road and head towards Chicago or whatever part of Illinois or whatever part of Tennessee or Mississippi, whatever the hell they're going to. They no longer have to stop here. So you couple the building of the bridge the train bridges and the advent of the modern railroad system, which basically made ferrying goods along the river kind of a thing of the past. The railroad system is quickly being built at an intense and rapid pace. A lot of you guys don't know this. We have a lot of Chinese immigrants to thank for building our railroads. I don't know if you guys know that or not. And so the railroad was the proverbial death knell of this town. Now, moving into the 20s and 30s, people would come back and the town would kind of flourish. I think by the time the 50s was around, I want to say there was about 15,000 people. So it was never really a big town. And then maybe the final death knell in the proverbial coffin that is Cairo's coffin, was a bunch of race riots taking place in the 60s. At the time, now in the 60s, now there's about 10,000 people, and half of the people are black. However, even though half your population is black, they're not being represented according to, their... Oh, sorry, I was rudely interrupted. Looks like somebody got pulled over. And boy, they were really hot on their tail. Hilarious. Oh well. Like I was saying, represented by their own race, their own constituents, if you will. And so you had many of the businesses in Cairo were ran by white people. You had the mayor, the city council, any position of power here in Cairo were controlled by white people. And all of the jobs that you would consider good jobs, they were in the hands of white people. So the only jobs that black people could get back in those days was working menial labor. And so, listen, that would make me pretty pissed off too. So in July of 1967, I guess you could say a race war started in this area. So a 19-year-old kid named Robert Hunt, he was arrested here in Cairo. He had a warrant out for his arrest. He was in the Army and he was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And I don't know why, but he decides to go AWOL. So he goes AWOL and, well, they pull him over and they take him to jail. Well, 2 days later, he was found dead in his jail cell, hung by his t-shirt. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, this kid didn't want to go to jail. He didn't want to go to prison because a 19-year-old kid, you went AWOL, you're going to do at least 5 years in prison. It's not going to look good for you. Just wanted to make sure that cop ain't going to pull me over for jaywalking. Cops in Cairo are really bored. And so word starts spreading within the community that he was murdered. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know why the police would want to kill somebody just because they went AWOL. I have no idea. But so a 3-day riot, which really turned into like years and years of these guerrilla warfare being played between different people that would come from other cities, fighting the police, firebombing police station, firebombing the fire station, firebombing people's businesses. It was pretty nasty for the most part. So you had years where black people were picketing white business owners. They said, don't shop at any business that is owned by a white person. We have to go out of town. I'm sure some people didn't abide by the rule of not shopping with white people. And then the cops would try to crack down on them. They wouldn't allow black people to picket in front of the business. They had to be within a certain distance of there. And basically it just kind of spiraled down, and that's what you basically have today. You have this city, Cairo, which I think gets a bad rap. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. I mean, it all depends on what you believe. It all depends on what you're into and what you what you like, what you don't like. Whew. It is very hot out here. Wow. Now, everything is not all bad here in Cairo. You do have a business across the street. It is a working car wash. But then, of course, right here, you have an abandoned... I'm not a detective, but I believe this used to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken. How many years do you think this place has been closed down? Probably at least 30. Now, over there, you got a liquor store. And this does appear to be a fully functioning and opened tire shop. So this is a business that seems to be doing just fine here in Cairo. Now you do have houses that are basically overgrown and abandoned, such as this one right here. One of the more creepier houses that I've seen before, but it actually looks pretty cool with all the vines growing around it and what have you. This is the Cairo Library. For a town so small, I mean, this is a pretty nice library. And across the street, you have the post office and the courthouse. Now, of course, I'm sure this was built at a time where this town was much larger, but got some pretty prominent and cool looking buildings here in this town. Now, so far, I don't know if this video is terribly disparaging, but, oh, spoke too soon. Uh-oh. Looks like we got a speeder. This guy just keeps going. Oh, is he stopping? There you go. There you go. Again. That cop ain't playing, guys. The speed limit here is 30 miles an hour. That guy was doing about 40. So it looked like oh, see that guy right there? He was speeding too. Bunch of speedsters in this town. It is so hot right now. I totally forgot what I was talking about. I literally, my brain cells are fried right now. It is so hot. I just walked about a good mile, and it's got to be like, what, 97, 98 right now? Very humid. Looks like it's going to rain, but yet it's not cool. So anyways, I don't know if these guys are just pulling people over just to write tickets to make money. I'm pretty sure a lot of their money that comes in from into the city is from people just speeding through here. I'm surprised for Illinois, I'm surprised they don't have speed cameras here, because basically these guys could just sit here all day long just writing tickets. Now, as I've seen it, a depressed town is officially, in my opinion, not a depressed town unless they have either a Dollar General or a Family Dollar. You must have one of those for me to consider you a poor / economically impoverished city. Had to stop in there for a watermelon slushie. So the lady that owns this store right here, she's owned it for 12 years, and I was asking her, how have you survived in this town with just your business for 12 years? And both her and her husband, they have regular jobs. They just come here in the afternoons and work. She said if it wasn't for them being so vested in the community, they would have long since been shut down. So you do have some, businesses, people own small businesses here. And also she told me this, because I was wondering, because as you can see, the traffic here, from what I remember, was a lot busier. I mean, you have like these big RVs. By the way, hey guy, you got a room for rent in there? I'm seeing like a lot of traffic coming through, and I'm like, why is this place so run down if there's so much traffic? Because they're doing work on the bridge, so it's shut down. So a lot of the traffic is coming through here. And I was like, okay, well that makes sense, because last time I was here, there was cars like this were not driving down this area. In case you guys were asking, where do these people shop at around here? Well, they come to here, kind of. This is Rise. This is a co-op owned supermarket, and I went inside really quickly, and well, it's a little bit underwhelming, but of course you can't expect much with a population this size. Last time I was here, this place had just opened up, so it's been about a year. They're still open, but from what I've seen in there, prices are pretty expensive. A gallon of milk was like $5 something. Normally people that live in Cairo, they go to a Walmart over on the Missouri side. It's about 25 minutes away. And not a lot of people go to that market to go shopping. So everyone just goes there, or they go to Cape Girardeau, which is about, I think, 30 minutes away. Lottery tickets, check cashing, fried chicken. I mean, what else can you ask for? Looks like over here used to be, I'm gonna guess this was a motel for people to come and stay at while they visited lovely Cairo. And nobody's coming in here with any money to spruce the place up, or I don't know, maybe make a new business out of it. If this were Los Angeles, each one of these rooms would be taken by a homeless person, squatter or whatever, but there's nothing in this town. I haven't seen not one homeless person. I mean, what are they gonna do over here? Nothing. This used to be the happening spot to be at. This once was a lounge called Talk of the Town. And they had pool tables, they had karaoke, ping pong, there was a bar. You can sit there and meet chicks, meet guys. And they had stripper wars. Yeah, that's right, stripper wars. You could come over here and watch strippers battle it out with each other. Strippers from Kansas City versus strippers from Chicago. But unfortunately, this place is closed down, so looks like I just missed it. Too bad, too bad. This was one of those rent-to-own places. They've been closed down for several years now. That sign right there says, move to Sikeston, Missouri, which is about half an hour away. Looks like this place used to be Air Max Cooling and Heating. And now, well, now it's just another abandoned building here in town. Can't really tell what business this used to be. By the way, I gotta be careful where I walk because I know there's snakes around here. Can't really see the sign, but I do see the name George, whatever this place used to be. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is the largest employer here in Cairo. This is the Riverbend Rice Company. They produce highly refined seeds for farmers in the Midwest and the South for them to grow rice, soybean, and wheat. This is the Cairo Police Department and City Hall. This is where all of the uniformed police officers in charge of protecting the fair citizens of this city are based out of. We are now entering historic downtown Cairo. Oh boy. Looks like this building has seen better days. This looks like something out of some war zone in a third world country. Now, downtown is not all bad. You do have the Ohio River right here, and you can come out here, bring your boat, and ride it up and down the Ohio River. That must have been one of the bridges that I mentioned earlier in the video that led to the downfall of Cairo. Got another bridge over there. That's the bridge that I'm going to be taking to get out of here. But this is pretty cool. A lot of people don't have something awesome like this in their backyard. It's too bad that this city can't utilize their placement along the river to bring tourists and bring their boats out here. I don't know why there's not more boats. I only see the one boat in this entire river right now. I only see one boat. And it's Saturday. As I was walking away, I noticed that this cop in the black car, the one that I seen earlier pulling people over, was kind of creeping up on me. Now, I'm kind of used to that. You know, he's never seen me before. He probably wants to know what I'm doing. So he creeped on me like 2 or 3 times. And then when I turned my camera on him, then he decided to creep away, if you will. Now, I wasn't trying to be one of those guys that, you know, wants to instigate stuff with the cops. I was just kind of wondering if he was going to pull me over, or, you know, technically he could have, because he could have wrote me a ticket, because technically, you know, I was jaywalking. I believe I was walking in the middle of the street outside of a crosswalk. So he could have if he wanted to, but luckily he didn't, because I don't have time to, you know, get tickets and have to mail money to this place so I can help support their infrastructure. So thankfully that ended up well for both parties. Okay guys, I am out of here. I'm hitting the road. I gotta hit the shower. Closest one is in Paducah, Kentucky. We're heading there now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe the next one will be a little bit more informative. Maybe we'll have a little bit more to show. Just not a whole lot in Cairo, Illinois. I'm out of here. I'm getting into some air conditioning. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.